We all know that strong camera confidence and delivery makes a great video, but what about all the extra things? Today we're talking about a whole handful of non-verbal hacks that you can add to make your videos really engaging. Let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Liz and I help coaches and consultants add video to their business. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss any of my future content. Now, what exactly do we mean by non-verbal hacks? Now, imagine somebody is standing on stage and giving a speech. If they simply stood in one spot and spoke at a monotone for the entire speech, you would probably receive that not in the greatest way. You wouldn't actually be raving about them as a speaker, even though they might have had good, strong content. This is because all of the non-verbal things that we do, meaning all of the gestures that we make that have nothing to do with what we're saying, actually add a lot to the presentation. People are visual creatures, and especially on video, they're not sitting in the same room with you, so they don't get your actual live vibe. So instead of that, all the gestures that you make on camera actually really make a difference to make the video itself more engaging. It allows your viewer to lean into the message and feel like they are sitting just with a friend and having a conversation. So if you've already mastered camera confidence and camera delivery, and you feel like you are really confident to present your message to the camera, then I encourage you to consider adding on some of these non-verbal gestures. They are really going to up-level your video and make you just look very, very natural on camera. So let's jump right into it. Now, two of the most common nonverbal gestures that we hear all the time are to maintain eye contact with the lens and also to have a smile or a pleasant expression on your face. It's always hard to remember to smile while you are deep into your message. Most of the time, your brain will be in overdrive trying to keep all of the contents straight without rambling or forgetting any details. On top of that, if you have to smile, it's actually a lot of work. So just to combat that, you can also stick a little post-it note just next to the lens of your camera with a smiley face on it to remind yourself to smile when you look at the camera. Finding your actual lens on the device is a challenge for newbies to video. Sometimes you see people who are making videos and they're kind of looking over like this, for example, or they're looking over here. And it feels like they are looking at the camera, but the viewer doesn't get that impression. So even before you press record, be sure to locate the lens of your device and then do your best to be looking right at that. When you look at the lens and have the lens at eye level is when your viewer really feels like they are just sitting across the coffee table from you. On the other hand, if your device is propped higher than your eye or lower than your eye, then it still doesn't give as much of a pleasing effect. Now, one of the easiest nonverbal hacks that you can do is to change your background. Now, of course, we can't all be repainting our walls all the time, but consider the fact that video is such a versatile tool. You can literally pick up your tripod and your device and shoot your video anywhere. So that means you can try to shoot with different backgrounds. So go to different areas of your house or your workspace, or even try shooting outdoors. Sometimes you can shoot a video just in your car while you're driving or when you're out and about. Just giving your viewers something a little bit different to look at once in a while changes the entire appearance and vibe of the video. For me, I like to use this background for my YouTube videos, and then when I'm posting to Instagram or to TikTok, sometimes I'll use a different background. It's as easy as moving around in your home or just adjusting some of the items that you have in your background just to give your viewer something a little bit different to look at. So we're interrupting this video so that I can remind you to subscribe. I think you should do that first. And if you want to get started with video sooner rather than later, I encourage you to join me at my next live free webinar, where I'll be introducing you to 3 simple steps that you can take this week to get started with video. Be sure to join me there. Just look for the link in the description below and I'd be happy to send you the details. Now let's get back to our video. Another nonverbal hack is to add props to the actual frame. So we're not talking about props like what you see on a theater set. We're talking about just simple little items just to add some extra visual appeal to what your viewers are looking at. So you might see sometimes people make YouTube videos where they have a mug here that's branded, or they've got their laptop within the frame, or there might be a vase with some flowers, or there might be a plant or some artwork hanging on the wall. So those are all props that just add to the visual interest. It just gives the eye something else to look at. Sometimes it helps with branding if you've got some props that are branded or in your brand colors. and it just gives an appearance to your video that becomes recognizable for your viewer. And you can pick up those props and move them. Sometimes you don't need the mug. Sometimes you can bring the mug back. So it just keeps your viewers kind of feeling like they are seeing something a little bit different, but it is all still familiar to them. And one of the greatest nonverbal hacks of all time is to show your hands in your video. If you're shooting your video in a way that your hands are not visible, then I highly encourage you to rethink that and see if you can move your tripod back a little bit or angle your camera in a way that your hands are visible. As soon as your hands are visible to the viewer, it immediately elevates the trust level. It's just a psychological thing. When a person can see your hands, it makes you feel like you are more open and more transparent, and they have a tendency to just find you a little bit more relatable. Not only that, but you can also use your hands to gesture. Now, I'm well known for using my hands a lot. Every single time I talk in real life or on video, I motion with my hands a lot, just to emphasize different points. So you can either try to add on some gestures with your hands to emphasize points, or just have your hands be relaxed and just visible within the video, just to add that extra layer of trust for the viewer. Now, speaking of using your hands, remember that having purposeful gestures are a great nonverbal hack. That means when you are saying certain words or phrases, in order to emphasize those points, you can intentionally add some hand gestures. It doesn't really change the content, but for the person that is watching, it just stamps in the message a little bit more. Just because now they've heard your voice saying the thing, they've seen your mouth saying the thing, and they've seen your hands indicating and gesturing along with the thing. So there's 3 different sensory sensations that are happening there that are allowing them to actually get that material into their head. So consider that as well. If you're going to be showing your hands in a video and you just want to leave them placed lightly like this, that's perfectly fine. But every once in a while, when you have a point that you really want to drive home, you can try gesturing the way that I did right now. It just adds an extra layer of emphasis to certain phrases and helps your viewer just to retain the information a little bit better. Another nonverbal hack that you can consider is to change your pose. You might shoot a lot of your videos sitting down, so why don't you try standing up for some of them? That can absolutely change the entire dynamic of the video. Sometimes standing gives more of a confident power pose, whereas sitting feels sometimes more like training or sharing some thoughts. So if you feel like your videos have become a little bit stagnant and they're all just kind of looking the same, then consider changing that pose. Now consider the fact that for Instagram stories and reels, TikTok, YouTube shorts, all of those are vertical formats. So they actually work really well if you stand in them because it just positions really nicely. On the other hand, videos for Facebook or YouTube, for example, they all require a landscape format for videos. So for those type of videos, if you sit, that also works perfectly fine. Another great nonverbal hack is to use on-screen text or graphics or emojis during your video. This helps your viewer to not only remember the information, but it just kind of breaks up what they're seeing all the time. So they're not only just fixated on watching you deliver your message, but they also get to read some of the text and also see some of the graphics and emojis, which just lightens the mood a little bit and makes the video more interesting and fun. So this can all be added on from within your editing software. Practically every software nowadays, including the ones that you get on your phone, can allow you to add either auto captions or certain titles or subheadings or just a little bit of text here and there throughout your video. Position that text in a way so that it doesn't cover up anything important in the video, but it is large and legible enough that it can be read easily within a couple of seconds. Try to avoid having long sentences all across your video because people then at that point have to decide if they want to read that or listen to you. So think about what is really important that is being said there and package that into just a couple of words and put that up on the screen. You can also put a title slide that indicates the name of your company or your name or the title of the video, for example. If you want to add credits or any type of acknowledgements at the end of your video, you can do that. You can put up notes on the screen indicating to people that they can check the description for a link so that they can download something or if you want to promote something. Using the PIP feature, which is the picture-in-picture feature, you can find that with most editing softwares. You can even put a little graphic up on the screen so that you can indicate to people that you have a special promotion going on or a resource that they can grab. This just helps them to visualize that actual thing and gives them something else to look at. When you're talking about your resource, for example, when a little picture comes up on the screen, then it just becomes really real for them. So they're not just listening to you, but now they're seeing the thing as well. Emojis have become really popular in the last couple of years. You can insert that in many, many ways on your video. Either you can add that along with your text. For example, you've got some text on the screen, and then at the end of that, you just put a happy face emoji or whatever the expression is emoji. Or you can just have the emoji come up on the screen just in conjunction with what you are saying. So for example, if you are saying something that's a little bit comical or sarcastic in nature, then you can put the laughing emoji up on your screen. You can play around with all sorts of things like that. It just makes the video a little bit more entertaining without taking away from the seriousness of the topic, and it gives the viewers another reason just to stay tuned in. And another nonverbal hack that you can use is to add in interesting cuts or transitions to your video. So if you're making a video that's a couple of minutes in length, you may want to cut it a little bit in case there's some areas that you don't want. So you can trim the beginning and end or delete any little fillers in the middle that you don't actually want to include there. So when you are cutting your video like that, you can consider having little transitions between some of those cuts. That just helps the viewer stay a little bit more entertained and engaged as well. It just up-levels the actual production quality of the video. So always keep in mind who your audience is. Some audiences do not really appreciate too many fancy transitions. They just want a solid message that's delivered to them in a really simple way. So even in those cases, you can just add a really simple transition, just a really simple cut. Or if you are creating videos that are more of an entertainment value for your audience, then of course you might want some really fast zoom transitions, some of the jump cuts, some of the swirly transitions. All of these things happen to appeal to certain audiences. So if you know your audience really well, you'll be able to find editing features that are really going to make them feel interested in your video. And that, of course, is going to complement all of the things that you are saying in the video itself. So if you like this video, I hope that you would give it a like, share it off with one of your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, because every single Tuesday, I bring you a new video teaching you how you can add video to your business. So until next time, take care.